Okay, and we are live. Let's see if anybody shows up. I am going to share this to all of the relevant places because if you just go live, it's never enough. You have to share it to like four social media places, or it doesn't work. There's a million things we could talk about today. So let's see. We could talk about Jacob Collier. We could talk about playing every album of the Emoji album, every album of the Emoji album, every track of the Emoji album at once. We could talk about playing Lumitone. I haven't tried Lumitone in 33-tone equal temperament. I realized I should. I should try out all the Sharp 1 EDOs. We could talk about Un12. We could talk about Chris Klein's new web app, which is like the most amazing thing ever. We could play some 20-tone equal tempered guitar. We could talk about Hark the Biblically Accurate Angels Sing and how the video is going. The short answer is slowly. Oh my gosh, there's people. Hi, people. So maybe you were led here by the awesome clickbait title, every track of the Emoji album at once. I'm proud to say that due to some conference shenanigans, I did actually download them all and play them at the same time. And the result is pretty fantastical. I don't even know if the speakers are going to convey this well, but like, maybe I can show it right here. Ah, do you see that? On my computer, I have every single track downloaded in Reaper, and then I'm going to be playing them at the same time. Hey, Equally Divided Mind, what's up? By the way, we have Kat here today. There she is. Wiggles, say hi to your fans. She's a very nice little cat. She's been really good this morning. Usually she doesn't get to come in here, but oh, look at that. I put Wiggles in the chat and the number of people in there shut up to 4. Okay, so I think without further ado, gang, what I should do for you is honor the title of this video by playing every track of the Emoji album at once. All right, here goes nothing. Are we ready? All right. Oh, another thing we can talk about, Microtonal Analogies tier list. Oh, but my computer's being insane and starting Discord and it's slowing down my computer. Sometimes I have like one computer here and another computer there, and it's weird because like the one computer is going live and another one can be watching it, and so some really recursive stuff can happen. All right, here goes nothing. Are we ready? And start. What do you think? I have a very specific thought. Mine is that if you take all of the tracks of the Emoji album and download them at the same time, yeah, the audio is kind of scuffed. I think it stinks. But you can do it yourselves. Just go to Bandcamp and get the album and download everything, and then yeah. So if you play these all together, now I wrote the Emoji album, right? So I know the tracks better than anybody, which is kind of strange to think about, but it makes sense. Actually, what's really funny about that album is a lot of the form is actually really conventional on purpose because the material is so strange. So it has to be repetitive enough even for the veterans. And what happens is if you put all these together, it turns into really, really dense chatter that I think lots of people try and replicate when they create pieces that are supposed to be really busy. And so like I think I've got some gold here and should probably use it for something. I don't know what I should use it for, but like I definitely get the distinct feeling that I don't recognize any individual track at all. Right? So like it's crazy. Like I kind of think that I hear that down, like that sort of like boingy sound from the track that uses all the really high EDOs past 1200, or maybe I'll like hear the pingy like frog drum sound from the 0 EDO track, but I'm not really sure. Like I kind of have this feeling that I'm imagining it. So yeah. Okay, I think Discord finally opened after like 2 years. So now I'll tell all the people that I'm live. All right. Let's talk about lots of stuff. You know what we should do? Let's try and get 33 tone equal temperament on the Lumitone, unless you guys have suggestions about what to talk about, because there's lots of things that we could talk about. Okay, here I go. Post in the Discord. Okay, let's see. Oh, we have a suggestion. Let's see. Heard you have perfect pitch. I have pitch similar to yours, but it's not 100% perfect. I can recognize Microtonal notes relatively fast, but not instant. Yeah, it's funny. I actually was talking about this to someone the other day. Because I feel like sometimes people with like perfect pitch who have learned it since birth, or they have that impressed upon them as like their primary method of ear training. It's like they try to recognize the notes first and then the relation later. And I sort of like freewheel between relative pitch and perfect pitch, like whichever one is better for me. And I realize that that also is bad, or can be bad, because it weakens relative pitch. But I definitely have some moments where like I hear a pair of notes and I'm like, my whatever my first impressed thought is, it doesn't have to be the pitches themselves. I can just be like, oh, that's a tritone, right? And then usually if I hear a note by itself, or it's kind of an interesting note and colorful and not as related to C major, I'm usually more inclined to like think of whatever the note is first. And then another test you can use that I find is really helpful is like, if you're worried that you're not imagining the melody of something very accurately, you can try transposing it to another key. And then what happens is, if the relationships are hard to imagine for someone who's not like completely invested in ear training, or maybe doesn't have perfect pitch or something, what will happen is the relativity will be hard to comprehend for yourself. So like basically, if I transpose something and sing it in the wrong key, if I can do that pretty easily, I know that it's like pretty singable and easy, right? And if I transpose something into another key and I kind of like have to think about the relationships, I realize that it's not as singable. And also that in my imagination, I may not be using the relationship between one note and the next, but more like using the perfect pitch of the note to get what I want. And actually, a lot of that happens in the singing that I do, especially if I'm sight reading in a tuning system that has really strange relationships that are hard to read. Um, Usually, I might be using perfect pitch to approximate a note and kind of like knowing whether it's sharp or flat based on my knowledge of the intervals. That would be a practice where like I'm estimating. So I would use that sort of strategy in a tuning system I'm not very familiar with, like 40 tone equal temperament, which makes me cry just thinking about it. Nah, just kidding. I'm just tired. Or 42 tone equal temperament. But something like 19, 17. There's lots of tuning systems that I know how to sing in now from practicing, and I don't feel uneasy about them or anything. Basically the diatonic ones I think are pretty straightforward. Keeping an eye on my cats, just making sure they don't scratch any of the carpet. Okay, great. So we have every track of the Emoji album here. Do we have any more people? Okay, we just have to post it on Facebook, and then that'll be the bare minimum. Um, okay, so I think one thing I'd like to do. Oh, you know what I can do? I can read. I got I got a microtonal analogies tier list here, that I want to turn into a microtonal analogies tier list video. By the way, if someone on YouTube were to upload every track of the Emoji album at once and like tag me, I would definitely like leave a positive comment. I don't know, the things we do for clout in today's age. Let's see. A friend on Discord with actual perfect pitch, and I want to get as good as them. Yeah, good idea. I don't know how old you are, but I didn't know that I had perfect pitch until I was a 14-year-old. And actually, because I learned it so late, there's lots of people that try to tell me I don't have it, which is like kind of funny. I mean, maybe they're right, but like I can still like do the things. So maybe they think I don't have perfect pitch because some of the perfect pitch things I do aren't as like debilitating as other perfect pitch people. Like I've heard some perfect pitch people can't like play piano in the wrong key or it completely messes with them. And I can do that. I think that's fine. It probably would be like I had a job once where as an accompanist we had a button on the keyboard that could transpose the key. So instead of writing music in a different key, we would press the transpose button and like I would like play an E major, but if it was transposed down two, we would hear D major. And like, that's fine. I think that would get hard in the exact same situation that the other one would, where like if you're doing something that's not as singable, where the relative relationships aren't as easy, that would start to become more difficult because as things become harder, you use more of the part of yourself that's just like, oh, what's this note sound like in isolation? And you're not processing the intervals as much. Discovered it close to your age. Ah, interesting. We might be in a similar situation then. How cool. Okay, neat. So now, posting. Oh, you know what I'll do? I'm going to try playing this. I don't know how to intelligently make the systems behave, but I'll play a little bit of this and post on Facebook at the same time. Then we'll talk about something else, if we're cool with that. All right, neat. Probably getting layouts on the Lumitone. Okay, here it's less dense, so you can kind of recognize some features. Oh, that beeping is from the imaginary one. Hey, Daniel, what's up? More imaginary noises. And stuff from the 24 equal divisions of the Feigenbaum constant track. The fast hi-hats in the Ricet rhythm and the Tresillo patterns in there, I can make those out. Interesting. Okay. Oh, yes. Thanks about the guitar dowel trick. I'm really glad that that's useful. Actually, I have an instrument doing that right now. I'll show you. It's this bass here where I stick the dowel in, and I have a 10-tone equal temperament. That seems a little flat. That's interesting. But yeah, this was working for the project I did it with. I think it may have been a Decagon dance floor, I think, where like I had these with the dowel. Can't get all myself in the camera. But I was only playing like the notes that were here because the accuracy gets so little as you go up. Let's see. I can perfect pitch single notes, but I struggle with chords. Do you think if I ear train enough, I'll recognize them on the spot? I would say yes, because that's what I started doing. When I was a teenager, I was already pretty good at recognizing quality, like major or minor. So I think the thing that's been super helpful for me has been recognizing quality really quickly. And of course, the more notes a chord has in it, the harder that is. But usually there's not very many. And what's nice about the rules of music theory is that if you recognize part of a quality, you can infer the rest of it if it doesn't sound strange and people are mostly using the same diatonic ish scales. Oh, yeah, zip ties between the frets. That's a great idea. Zip ties and dowels combined. Actually, I am wondering from the chat gang or anybody else, I'm looking for a fretless bass because I want to be able to just slide between the frets. Now, I could just get rid of the frets here, but that's kind of a lot of work. And I don't have as much time to be as DIY. I would like to be more DIY, but I don't have as much time. So it would be cool to kind of trade this in and get the fretless one, and then, I get like a live setup going on. Sorry that there's like a leaf blower guy out there. By the way, I promised that I would be done by about 9:30 today with whatever I'm doing, just because I've been so productive. Yesterday, I worked almost the entire day on microtonal music, which was really satisfying because usually I don't get to do that. And the thing I was doing was really hard. There's a secret collaboration I have coming up with a certain metal artist, and I'm creating something in 26 tone equal temperament for that. So I had to play something on the Lumitone. Here, I'll show you the music. So here's some of the music that I had. I was using music with 7/4 tuplets in it. And then there's another section here. And so the texture of this first movement of music that I'm using oscillates between having a sort of meditative 7/4 tuplet feel with like octaves in one hand and other crawling figures in the other. Figures that are often maybe in threes or fives or twos or something to offset how it is with the 7/4 so that you create additional groupings inside the rhythm. And then there's also a texture where you have like high notes and then like slow descent and then like little chorale texture that's sort of in a major key, and changing between using different modes that the composition demands. So that was really hard to play. It took a lot of the day. I thought it was going to be easier for me to play, but it turns out that Lumitone is really hard. Okay, let's talk about something really cool. I don't know if anyone here knows about Chris Klein's web app, but I'd like to show it to you. Basically, I've got yes, I think Roll Meals has pieced it together. So yes, a lot of my secretive hints aren't very secretive. You just have to like know most microtonal music to figure it out. Okay, so right here, what I'm going to type in is projectivetuningspace.com. And this causes something fantastic to happen. Here's the little Projective Tuning Space logo that's coming up. And so this is a website that Chris Klein made. And what you can do is you can plot your own projective tuning space using any primes you want, even strange ones. Now, I'm not smart enough to know how the strange ones work, although I have occasionally been in a situation where like people temper a mean tone, so they use like 5/3 as a prime because they want that pure or whatever. So right here, oh man, I'm trying to figure out how I should hold this computer and have this computer here. I should just show you guys what this room looks like. It's crazy. The lengths I go to. Okay, so check this out, right? We have primes 2, 3, and 5. Minimum ET and maximum ET, 0 to 100. So now I can create, it fills in projective tuning space, and you can zoom in and out fluidly. Look at this, like that, and you see all the lines that you get from the space. And you can interact with it. Now, the way I like to think of this diagram is it's displaying concepts live that I ordinarily had to just completely learn from talking to Paul Ehrlich like a lot. And I think I still would have to learn those things from him. But what's amazing about this is you can click two numbers and the temperament that connects them in the prime limit space will show up. So for meantone, obviously, we could do like 5 and 7, right? And then we should get meantone. Am I doing this right? I'm not. Chris knows how to use this, and I don't. Let's see if I can I'm gonna try shift clicking 5 and 7, which I'm sorry, I can't do at the exact angle I would like. We're very prepared here on the Stephen Weigel channel. Maybe, oh, here we go. Yeah, I held shift and did it. And now you can see that the meantone line is right there, right? Zooming in. And I try and explain this to people, but I don't use temperament almost ever, so I'm sure I'll say some slightly wrong terminology, but the concepts I'm saying are right. The idea is that if you have like 5 and 7 on the meantone line, you add them to get 12, and then you can add 12 and 7 to get 19. And so if you add two numbers at any points on the line, you can get the number in between them as the next MOS/equal temperament number that you need. And it will also be the largest one in between those two lines as you keep going through. So like 12 plus 19 is 31. And you can see here that 31 is the next largest number that you have. If we add 19 and 31, we get 50. And so you can see, if I'm able to zoom in right, yeah, that 50 is the next largest number there. And so that's the idea of having these nested temperaments. Now, as I understand it, the numbers on the line double as two really important things. This is really a dense thing. For anyone who doesn't know about projective tuning space, it explains like 20 concepts simultaneously. So you really need some patience to unpack it, but it's super useful if you haven't heard about it. Now, if you've heard about moments of symmetry, what happens is, given a particular generator for meantone temperament, like a fourth or a fifth, the numbers that you get here represent the times when generating the scale when you get two step sizes. Like if you have 5 notes, you'll get 2 step sizes with a pentatonic scale. 7 notes will give you 2 step sizes with a diatonic scale. A 12-note scale will give you 2 step sizes with an unequal chromatic scale that has a chromatic semitone, and a diatonic semitone has 2 different sizes, etc. And so not only do those function as MOS scales where you get 2 of those step sizes, but they also tell you equal temperaments where that comma is tempered out as well. So 7 tempers out the meantone comma. 12 tempers out the meantone comma. Now, some of the numbers on this line aren't patent vowels. So for example, 17 is not a meantone temperament in the sense that its closest approximation to the major third. Its closest approximation to the major third is not the same as its stack of 4/5, right? It would be a neutral third versus a Pythagorean major third. But if you take its second best major third, then it would work. So I don't know exactly how that's accounted for in the chart. That's the part where my knowledge breaks down. I just know what patent vowels are, and that's the situation. And 22 is in the same situation over here, right? So I think probably what you would get is, as notes get closer to the inside of the graph, as you zoom in closer to the center and get closer to just intonation, you would also get temperaments where the patent vowels work out for tempering out that comma. And then I think as you get farther out, you might get things where the patent vowel is not being used for the temperament, but the equal temperament could still be on the line. Let's see. I read somewhere that 37 and 44 had some special property related to this. Oh, you know what? Let's click on 37 and 44 in 235 space because I'm basic, and we'll see what happens. Okay, so I'm trying to find where they are actually. I'm trying to find the largest numbers. I guess they might not be that good in this space or whatever. We tried to find a 66 and it was really small. I thought that was kind of fascinating. You know, that there are these huge tuning numbers and they can just be really small in the chart. Okay, I have a 37 up here that I found that's on the porcupine line with 15 and 22 and 29. I just know that. I'm not doing any math. Um, okay, 37. Oh, 37 and 44. This is interesting. Okay, so let me zoom in to show you where they are. Ah, my zoom function is very sensitive. It will get broken almost right away. Okay, so here's 37 up here, and here's the porcupine line. I didn't draw it very well because I'm at a weird angle. And then over here is 44. And this is, 12, 20, 44, 32. I'm not sure what line that is. Here. First I want to figure out what the 1220 line is. And I'll also show the porcupine line. I'll bet it's something having to do with like a half octave period because all the temperaments are even. Okay, so if I click 12 and this 20 up here, oh yeah, I'm right. It's diminished. See diminished right there? Okay. Let's see. Now I'm going to try 15 and 29. That's the porcupine line. As I suspected, there it is right up there in the top right. Okay. Now, moment of truth. 44 and 37. Who already knows it? Who's the biggest nerd? Oh, it's Beatles. Apparently. I can only see the title if you zoom in. It's the text is up there, but it's kind of blocked by the 27. By the way, I asked Chris yesterday if there's contortion, and yes, you can add that, although there's not a color scheme, so the numbers are funny to read. That's an interesting problem, I think, when you're graphically representing these. Like, what do you do about numbers that should be on the same spot that are overlaid on top of each other? I think it looks neater without contortion. Like, as long as you know about it, you can just figure out that a temperament times 2 could also work for whatever you want. But yeah, that's pretty interesting. We found 37 and 44, and together they did Beatles stuff. Ooh, idea for a microtonal animated series. Do it. Everybody wants to do one. Who's gonna do it so well that Numberphile finally says, "Oh, this is a real theory." Get Paul Ehrlich on Numberphile by 2026. Ooh, I can be the 37 Tet voice actor. Not 37, 13. Let's see. 37 and 44 have 2 diatonic fifths, but can only be constructed by adding 5s and 7s in one way. That's so odd. Like, there's only a certain special combination that you can use. I actually am not sure that I understand that statement. But yeah, okay. You've seen the wonderful things that projective tuning space has to offer. I am not the best salesman of its features, but you get hopeful stats right here. The rank 2 temperament, you have like the syntonic comma here. So it'll show you like the Monzo. It'll show you the mapping. And those are great, right? Because you can multiply them to figure out whether the equal temperament cancels out. That's all detailed in the middle path paper. And then you also have like temperate interval sizes. Okay, now here's another great thing. Ooh, let's see a Beatles horogram. I don't think I ever have seen that. You can click view horogram, and you get a Beatles horogram. And then when you play, ooh, that's pretty zen. You can hear the intervals as you click on them. So it's all connected to projective tuning space. It's crazy. Okay, now if we were going back to projective tuning space, I think if I click isomorphic keyboard, I should be able to create something. So now what I'm going to do is I purposely want to create a layout for 33 that I've never created before. So I wonder if this will work if I just click on 33 and I don't have a temperament. Let's see, isomorphic keyboard. So I have 4 and 1 here, and that's not what I want. I want 4 and 3. So let's see if that will work. Let's see. So you got something nice and colorful here. That's pretty cool. Not the diatonic scale though. I should have figured out how to use this tool before I tried to use it. Let's see. rank 1, rank 2. Huh. Okay. Let's go back to I wonder if I press the back button if something crazy will happen. But yeah, here's the thing that I'm trying to. Oh, time to go already. That's not fair. Okay. So here's the thing I'm trying to communicate here about this is that there's a direct connection between projective tuning space right here and creating a keyboard. Let me see if I can click porcupine. It'll create a keyboard for me. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. So I have to click the temperament name to create the layout based on the temperament. Like if I want porcupine, the two choices are the same as in infinitone, which I think is great. You have a choice of a full chromatic equal temperament, and then you have an additional choice of like an albitonic scale or selective scale to use. Infinitone calls the higher level where you have all the chromatic notes tuning, and then it calls the smaller level scale. So it would be interesting if we could get both these softwares on board with the same terminology. So this one calls tuning scale size. I'm going to click 37, and I want an 8-note porcupine scale. Oh, albitonic scale size. Yeah, albitonic is nice because it's a little bit more specific than scale and tuning. Okay, there we go. We got porcupine 8 and 37. No effort at all. And I can just download that and put it on the Lumitone, and I don't have to create all of the colors and pads myself. Also, Chris has some kind of ingenious RGB color coding that will work for any temperament system. And I have not yet run into a layout created by his app that is confusing color wise, where like two similar colors are on keys that are next to each other, which I know is a thing on like the 19 tone Lumitone preset. I have my own Lumitone layouts where I have darkened all of the colors significantly just so that I can film with the Lumitone. Yeah, equally divided minds, you're right. That F sesquisharp, yeah. It used to be Suneru by Noser, which is like a real, I guess that's a real deep cut, right? But lots of people still know it. I don't know. Woo. Okay, so now that I demonstrated that I can actually figure this out because it is pretty straightforward. Here we go. We're going to do mean tone with 33. Moment of truth. I just clicked mean tone, our favorite basic layout. And the scale size is going to be. Oh no, it's only doing mean tones with the patent val. Ah, this is an interesting problem. So how do I get flat tone? Anyone in the chat smart enough to help? This is actually, this is good user participation. Because what I want is, here's the 33. Maybe, well, flat tone would have to be on a different temperament line, right? But then I'd ultimately end up getting the same pattern. 33, 26. These are all on that same 5th generated line. So I'm confused. I'm just going to try. I'm going to try clicking 33. And then what are some other flat tones that would work? 41 counts as a non-patent val one. Okay, so there's this line I'm seeing with maybe 29 and 45 that might help. It just calls it 33 and 29. That's interesting. Right here. So I guess that's not a very common temperament. Okay, scale size 33. Albitonic scale size. Well, it doesn't have a 7-note scale. So I don't think that's right. Yes, this is the part where I need the temperament people. Because like what I want to do, right, is create a 33 tone layout, but have it have a diatonic scale. And actually, if I was able to do this with every equal temperament, not only would I have all of them, but then it would also be a situation where I am good enough at understanding projective tuning space that I feel good about this. I don't know if 41 is actually not non-patent val. I'm just guessing because I know it's normally a Pythagorean system that has a different major third approximation than its stack of 4 perfect fifths. And so I was just seeing if it could connect. Ooh, let's try 33 and 41. Oh, that actually has a name, Beaupierre. That's interesting. Oh, you know what I should do? I should look up What comma is tempered out by flat tone? This has proved to be a good stream. I think we're going to keep it. At least I hope we are. Let's see. Oh, okay. All right, so I'm going to search flat tone here. See if I get anything on the Zenharmonic wiki. Alternative extension. It tempers out the syntonic comma. Come on, what? Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. So it's telling me about various extensions. But I think it's so related to 7 limit that I would have to create a different chart or something. So this is a good exercise. Can I create a diatonic 33 tone layout? I wonder if I can't even do it in projective tuning space with 2, 3, and 5. Like I wonder if I need 7 to do that. This is where I rely on the smart people in the chat. Okay. I'm going to try resetting the chart and looking at 2, 3, and 7 and seeing if I can even make sense of this space. Okay. Let's see if I can find 33. Here's what I'm trying to zoom out, but it's not working so well. Come on. I don't know what's wrong with my mouse pad. All right. Here's what 2, 3, 7 space looks like. So as you can see, 5 is really important, and it makes sense because it tempers out the difference between 8/7 and 7/6, right? So of course it would be important. Now I wonder if I can even find 33 on here. I think that would be interesting. So I'm trying to, oh, here we go. I found 33 in this little line cascading outwards to the left. So I think it's connected to 5. So I'm going to see what that line is. It gives me 33 BDD and 5 as a crossbreed. Obviously not too named. All right, now let's try 33 and 12. That also is not giving me a name, but it goes through 63, 39, and 27. Fascinating. Okay. I wonder. See, I don't know these temperament names, but it could be I just click. It could be I just click isomorphic keyboard and it's the right temperament. Okay, so let's see. Scale size 33. Does it have 7 as a scale? No, it's multiples of 3. So that's not working. So I guess the way I'm trying this is just like clicking 33 with the temperament I want, because I'm not sure how to find the temperament, and then finding the albitonic scale size. Okay, that's very trial and error. You know what? Too bad about the 9:30 alarm. We're gonna stay here and figure out this temperament. It's gonna happen. Okay, but first, before I do that, I would like to show everyone my room and just the lengths I have to go to record on the Lumitone. Okay, let me see if I unplug my microphone. If I unplug my headphones, everything should be fine. But if feedback starts to happen, I'll like mute the computer or something. You can tell me if you can hear me or not. Okay, and we unplugged this, and it's behaving. This is my old laptop, so I probably have like 2 minutes before it will do something crazy. Okay, so there's the Lumitone that I was playing, and then here is the window. So I had to record during the daytime to get a consistent feel for it and have this here, because what happens is if you film it and then it's too bright, the camera will just register it as a glowing strip. And that's why 99.9% of Lumitone videos are just a direct camera over the Lumitone itself, because when you get close enough and are at that angle, you can see all the individual keys. So, actually, this will be an interesting experiment. Let's see if within this room, I can use the 26 tone preset and whether it will be dark enough that you all will be able to see the individual keys. So I'm going to put this down and then use my music stand for this purpose. And we will see what the verdict is. If I can move everything out of the way. Okay, here goes nothing. Now I was last playing with 26, so yeah, you guys see that, right? You see how, like, if I've got this, I can see each individual key on the camera? This is actually looking really good. It usually doesn't look this good. Like the other day, I was trying it with my camera, and it was about like this, but then if I moved in certain ways, it would start to glow a little bit more. So this is actually looking really, really fantastic. Yeah, you can see, and like the light of things around it also affects it so sensitively that changes the angle as well. So like I find myself moving things closer and further from the wall because like the wall is reflecting light, right? Like you see kind of the glow of the wall as light comes off of it. And then my shirt even affects it. So like if I wear a black shirt near it, somehow I know like this black absorb light, probably, right? Like if I have black near it, for some reason it doesn't like that, and it will glow slightly more when I'm playing next to it. Like it's very, very sensitive and reactive to those conditions. And in fact, I can even be playing, and the window light can even change, and it can glow slightly more. So the thing is, it's weird because window light actually works better, but it's also like outdoor light that I don't have control over, which is annoying. So lots of times, if I'm filming in a dark room and I'm trying to get my own small like lighting rig just right, it's so hard to be able to do it. I even noticed something new the other day, which was that like if I was recording the Lumitone and I had the camera and like it was acceptable but still glowing a little bit, I noticed that like if I was standing near to the camera or close to it, that was a little bit in front of it, that it would just be like perfect. Ooh, we already have tips in the chat. This is good. My ignorance about lighting revealing that is helping because then other people have good things to say. See how the screen glowed just there? Just like that. But the Lumitone's fine. Maybe I should actually play Lumitone. Okay, let's see. You got to turn off the automatic brightness adjustment. Set the brightness manually. Ooh, I cannot wait to mess with that. I didn't even think about that. You're talking about the camera, I assume. The Lumitone doesn't have its own built-in brightness, sadly. But I do have all these dark presets. So here, let me show you the layouts I have. Here's 15 in honor of my channel. Hope it's not too cheeky. You know, the orange and black profile picture that I have. Yeah. And then here's 17. These are spider milk colors from the Mercury tree. 19, darker so that you can see it all. And I also made E sharp and B sharp like a blue so that it's way more different, like we talked about earlier. There's 20 with my microtonal guitar colors, green, red, and just like a white key color. There's 22, darkened. Here's 26, which I love playing. I love playing flat tones. It's so much easier to be able to play things where even if the major third is really low, it's still equivalent to that fifth stack. Like it's just lower, you know? Here's, what's this one? Oh, this is 31. Yeah. 37. Now, as you can see, check this out on the camera. Some of these are a bit too bright, and they sort of meld into each other. So I need to figure out how to darken those right. But this is a really obscure color scheme to honor. This is from Andrew Heathwaite's album New Beams, which is really old but fun. It has this track on it, Spun, that is just so great. Like there's like a little like wolfy piano tone in the top that feels like you're getting stung by a mosquito. It's perfect, but not in like a super annoying way. You should still listen to the track. Oh, and this is 41. You can see that middle row is too bright here on the camera, but it looks fine here in the room. This is done after Aaron Hunt's tonal plexus color scheme because his whole thing is multiplying 41 to get 205. And then this is just 53, but it's been darkened. So those are the presets that I like to roll with. And I have been trying to use them, but I don't use them that often. Okay, so we were going to solve a temperament problem. And what I should do is I should set everything up for that in a way that doesn't take too long. So I'm bringing my computer cord over here because this is my old laptop, and sometimes if it's not plugged in, it'll just Go black. Let's see. I like to think of flat tone as an overripe fruit. Very sweet, but something is odd about it. Oh, that's such a good analogy. Actually, I was listening to, well, I was like noodling around in 26 the other day, and I was noticing that I was like tasting things that were adjacent to plums. So that's a very good observation. Let's see. And super pipe is unripe. Yeah, yeah. Super pipe that can be a little bit more sour, I think, in a good way. Like, it's funny because like sometimes you get like sourness from things that are like really sharp fifths or really flat fifths, but those don't produce like similar kinds of systems, right? So that can be another thing that weighs on the taste buds, as does timbre. That's a big important one. Okay, so let's have this at 26. Let's solve this problem. Okay, so I think I know how to solve this problem. I just might actually have to do math. Um, let's see. Where should I even put this? Um, okay, so what we want to do is we want to create a, let's see, we want to create an MOS scale in 33 tone equal temperament that is going to have like its perfect fifth as a generator, but we may just not call it mean tone. So actually, I know how to do this in Scala. So we're going to do it in Scala instead. Sorry that I don't have a screen share. Oh, hello. Okay, Scala. Scala. Which one is it? We're approaching an hour. Man, this one has been so fun. I feel like every stream I've been doing lately is fun, which is good. I try to make them so dense in content that they become useful, and then they can stick around. Who knows? I never know what people want me to talk about on here, because people are like, oh, stream more often, stream more often. And they have no idea what I should say. But I love people that show up to the streams. Y'all are the real MVPs. Okay, at least I think I still know how to do this in Scala. Okay, so, okay. Where's my phone? It's dividing time. Oh my gosh. There should be like math speedruns where people try to do this Zen harmonic nonsense, but you're not allowed to use the Zen harmonic wiki. What could you call it? Like wiki percent? Or no, I guess no wiki percent. Okay, 1200 divided by 33 is 36.36 repeating, I think. I don't know. Or 3636364? That'd be weird if that was true. So I guess, oh man, how many of those are in a fifth? Okay, it's a flat one EDO. So if 26 has the 4 and 3 thing going on, that means 33 has the 5 and 4 thing going on. So it would be, you'd have 3 of the whole steps in a fifth and 1 of the half steps. So 3 times 5 is 15, and then 15 plus 4 is 19. Let's see if we get it. Times 19. 690.90. Perfect. And that's 11 tenths fifth. Right? Yeah. So we know it's right. No. Oh, it is right. Yes. It's just not 11 tenths fifth. That's a different one. It's the one that's past it. Okay. All right. New horogram. Where did the horogram go? Oh no, it's new linear temperament. I haven't used this in so long that I forgot how to do it. Okay, so there's the octave. The formal fifth is 690.90909.1. And then I'm going to choose 33 as my scale size. Apply. Horogram. Okay. So the MOS scale we have is 2, 3, 5, 7, 12, 19, 26, 33. Okay. That's interesting. Let's see. Yes, I'd love to stream more often. I think that'd be great. Let's see. Oh, yes. I'll put the website name in the description of this video for sure when I'm done. Okay. So I think we might be able to use Scala's tools to find the temperament. So I have this here. I made the horogram. Now what? Let's see. I wonder. Let's see. Find linear temperament. Okay, we have this already. Let's see what happens if I click find temperament. List of regular temperaments by name, by generator. By, oh no, it's having me type in a completely new temperament again. Let's see. Well, I don't know how to find it by name, but let's find by generator. I'll just type in the generator again. And then we'll just type in 1200 cents as the octave. And then let's try it all by generator. All rank n. I'm trying to figure out how to use Scala. I'm trying. Oh my god, there's so many temperaments here. Okay, Scala just popped out a bunch of them. Let's see. But it seems like not a lot of them are actually what I want. Oh, I saw flat tone. Flat tone 11 limit. Ah! Wish you guys could see this screen right here. I've got a bunch of just like sliding cent values here. Darn it. Okay. Hi, yo variable. What's up? I'm loving the notation videos you're doing. We don't have enough of those. Oh, you know what I should do? I've got a transcription list that I should read. Things I want to transcribe. And then microtonal analogies tier list. And then if anyone can help me solve the 33 tone problem that I'm trying to solve, that'd be really cool too. Okay. So here's my little list. Okay, the Adam Neely Christmas music has got to happen. I know it's 5 years too late, but maybe Adam would finally comment on one of my videos. That'd be funny. I'd love to transcribe anything that Blair Benzel plays. Her you know, like little Lumatone like shorts. They're crazy good. Like they're really rich on the inside, right? So I'd love to see that on paper. I have a feeling that a lot of the chords, the implied chords, would be like modes that contain triads, but also have like a lot of neutral intervals on the inside. That could be easy to play. And then let's see. I'd like to transcribe Georg Vogel playing on the omnitonium, like he played that little jazz thing on the harpsichord and it went viral or whatever. Cam playing All the Things You Are in 41. That'd be fun. Easy to see on paper. Amy Rivers has a video where she plays like 5 tet on the black keys and 7 on the white keys, which is something that people often discuss. So I'd like to write that in 35. And see, what I'm doing is I'm looking for things that are either fun because they have like an interesting chord progression or something about the quality is interesting, or I'm looking for tuning systems that I really want to see on paper that I've never seen on paper come from actual music before. Or at least I would have to dig really hard to find it, and it would just be like a MIDI thing. I'd also like to transcribe. There's this one like guitar video, Pestilent Decay, on YouTube, that uses 2510. So I'm going to transcribe that. The Meet the Fokker organ YouTube video. I still need to decide on a Tolga Hancholu video. I don't know which one to do. Brian Deister would be great. I'd want to transcribe his things where he just plays in equal temperaments and goes up. He played all of them through 100, which is like absolutely mad when you think about it. Oh, I'm also transcribing the Simon the Magpie video with the X frets. Let me show you a picture. So I have this X fret diagram, and I don't know if these are the accurate numbers that I've written in, but what I did was I have come up with several methods to try and figure out what's going on. So I have the entire fretboard. I have the entire fretboard modeled, and I used FretFind 2D and some other mathematics to figure out everything. Basically, I used Desmos to model it geometrically and scaled it to each fret size because it's all the same shape. And then I used like ratio math and where it is on the string to figure out how many cents each note should be. And Unfortunately, what happens is, um, well, first of all, the X frets slot you into 12 tone equal temperament like things, right? But there's some values that I want to keep distinct from each other that don't have easy solutions. Um, so, like, for example, there's a fret number that's supposed to be 41 cents higher in certain places. And then Melodyne shows it as something like 61. So I don't know if that's due to someone bending or, holding down a string hard enough that the tension changes and something happens. Like maybe the fret at an angle does something. I didn't really account for that. I just said, like, at this point, what is it? So there's that. And then there's also, um, well, the fact that, like, if you were to quantize that in 72, you have a situation where you say, okay, like, I want to keep that note and the quarter tone distinct because there's another note later that's in a quarter tone slot. So in 72 tone equal temperament, to keep 41 and 50 distinct as cents, you have to approximate 41 with 33, which could be acceptable. But what if that same note is often playing 61 cents like it's not supposed to? Now you have something else going on. You have a note that says it's 33 cents on the page and you're hearing 61. So that doesn't work. So this is a really interesting problem to be cracked. And I will just have to dig in more with Melodyne and research whether, like, holding guitars down can bend them up and what that means for the notation and whether I will. Yeah, exactly. What will the tabs look like? I think what I will do is I will either just not have tablature, which would be fine. That would be less work for me. Or I should provide a tab number that's decimal, a la Ben Hurtman or Tolga Hancholu. So that's a really fun one. Let's see. What are some other ones I have? Oh, Dave Fuzinski and Georgi Mikadze have this, like, insane solo on Kashmir by Led Zeppelin that they performed at Berkeley. That's on YouTube. It's like the most amazing thing. Jimmy Page is in the audience, and the audience is so lame in the video. It's very funny because it's like, I don't know. I think Georgi, like, rips through this insane solo, and it's like the best thing that's ever happened in the entire world. And then the audience is just like, and Dave on stage had to be like, clap for this guy, come on. So that's funny. Anyway, I want to transcribe that. Oh, I want to transcribe Vivid Vibe, which is this little track I found online. It's in 20, so that'd be a good test of seeing 20 on paper. Also, if I dig into some Dan Stearns, that'd be good too for 20. Because I want to figure out if reading 20 as a subset of 60 is less painful than reading it in its normal state, which is pretty painful already. Okay, other things I should transcribe that I won't have time for. Ooh, Zia's Candescent recently. That would be pretty easy because you can see the whole piano. But again, every octave is different. And I wonder if hedgy notation in that situation would mutate into something very annoying. Who knows? Oh, and then there's one other crazy thing I want to transcribe. There's this Prometsic track on Luna Octava that uses 0 tone equal temperament, and we figured out on Now and Zen that the secret for that is that percussion samples are just sped up a bunch in a chiptune thing in order to make that happen. So imagine a transcription of that figures out the approximate pitch and re-engineers some kind of tuning system. I think, unfortunately, for readability, I would use 12 times an integer, but it'd be really interesting to see if there were any. Like, I've listened to that a few times, and I don't. The roots don't seem to add up to anything weird to me, but, like, the top notes that would give quality, like thirds and fifths, those are a lot weirder. So that would be really interesting on paper. Basically, I'm trying to think of things that are that would be considered impossible to transcribe ish, but also melodic and musical. And then also, things that would be interesting on paper, like from a notational perspective. Okay, great. That's all that stuff. I probably should play the Lumitone for you. And then as I play, I can think about how I would represent 33 on the keyboard. So I'm gonna plug it in for y'all. You'll have to tell me if you can hear it. Okay. Ah, trying to get my adapter. Oh no, did my adapter vanish into thin air? That's not cool. I have a USB, but I have to plug this in using like one of those converters. Oh, I found it. Okay, here we go. Ah, okay. All right. Um, how we doing over here? Ooh, the 31 EDO colors. Yeah, that'd be interesting. I've had some experience playing on an inconsistent layout. Um, the 34 tone layout that I played and so it goes in is inconsistent, and so it's very hard to find notes. So I basically, like in terms of just navigation, if I want to play anything, I basically just have to find the notes and memorize it. Uh, okay, I have a really tacky idea for getting my laptop at a good height for you guys. So if I stack my empty recycle can and my saxophone on top of each other, we should be able to get my laptop at a big enough height to do this. Let's see. Okay, looping this cord all the way around. This is going to be really anticlimactic. Ah, maybe this won't work. I'm doing all this just to put the computer in a different spot. Oh, here we go. This has an extension cord attached to it, so I can take the extension cord and make that work. Okay. I said I was going to be productive this morning, and it's still going to happen. Okay, so now my computer is over here, and in a second it should be serenading you. Okay, here we go. All right. We got the Lumitone here, and then I'm going to bring up Piano Tech. Yay. Best software ever, because it cares about microtones. Yippee. Okay, what sound do we want? Let's do, oh my gosh, let's get daring. Let's do a real piano sound. Yes, so your variable, the thing I was trying to do was what I would like to do is I'd like what Brian Deister has, although he doesn't care about this as much, but I'd like to create a diatonic layout for each equal temperament when I can. Some of them will result in inconsistency, like 34 and 24. But basically, I was trying to figure out how to do it with Chris's app. And the thing is, because 33 isn't actually a mean tone temperament, when I click on the mean tone line to create something generated with that temperament, I don't get 33 as a tuning choice. So, interesting problem. Yeah, 5L2S layout, exactly. Okay, you know what? We're gonna do the. Ooh, we're gonna do the historical piano. Can you guys hear that? Is it too quiet as always? Because I refuse to learn the technology or have OBS crash my computer. Okay, great. So we have this, and now I'm going to take that equal temperament, and then I'm going to have it be 26. All right, here comes 26. Our favorite. Remove all stretching, blah, 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 full rebuild. Okay, great. And then I wonder how this will do with C and stuff. Oh, I need to make the multi-MIDI channel thing happen. Okay, I have multi-channel MIDI layout checked. Okay, this is as loud as it can be. Maybe if I put it literally right next to the laptop, it'll be slightly louder. Okay, there we go. Now you can even see it. Can you hear it? Okay, great. Good. All right. Okay, so I think I'm just gonna do what everybody else does. I'm gonna play something random and colorful, and show you what I could do if I chose to be that person. But instead, I go down a different path. I purposely go down a different path where it's like effortful. It's very important. Some people get that, and some people don't. Some people that like think that what I'm doing is just improvising. It's so obvious that it's not, in my mind. Yeah, exactly. You guys are right. Yeah, F chord. Okay, sweet. Here we go. Let's play a little bit in 2610. Check out that whole tone scale. It's so wolfy. Oh. We ended up back in F, so it's okay. Yeah, that's a great description. Super measure. Just enjoying the inside. Trying to think of something good. Ooh, I love how flat that leading tone is. See, we hung around this chord for a long time. We got used to it and what it was doing, and then we had this. That's the leading tone right there. If we did it one higher, we'd have, that's D flat going to C sharp. We're getting augmented. Hold on to your hats. Oh my god, I love the sound of that major seventh. More 7/4 for you. Now let's riff on this 7 and 11 a little bit. Oh wait, that's not it. Other. Ooh, let's go for a minor major 7. What the what? That sounds so freaking different. That's like, what would that be? E flat minor, right? Or, like here's an E flat major 7. And I change this to minor. Man, the vibe is so close with these two that it's like, it's so strange. Like the colors in 26, right? Hello? No! Sad. Oh, it's just the high keys don't have the MIDI channel. I never played that high before. So it's not the Lumitone's fault. Not the Lumitone's fault. It's the high keys. Wrong channel. Okay, that's a good place to end. Anyone guess what note that was? Actually, do I know what note it is? Oh, it's C double sharp. Or D double flat in 26. All right. Well, that was fun. See if I figure out my 33 problem. Okay. Neat. All right. Well, if nobody has any last minute questions, I think I'm going to take off and play some Microtonal metal kazoo. Let's see. Equally divided mind. Do you have a question? I love questions. Questions are my favorite. It was fun to play that with actual piano sound, because usually it's like, oh, it's got to be electric piano, or people will complain because the fifths are not in tune. But it actually was fine. Nobody was upset. Shapes and colors. I use both of those, so I know like if I have a diatonic scale and there are shapes within it to play chords, I know those shapes. So I'm using that as a touchstone for familiarity. And then I will often, like, I guess if I'm improvising, I would like launch into using the same shape I had, but trying to do it in another place in a different way. And I think 26 is pretty good for that, because if you do it in 19, you might end up in a similar plane of existence to what you already had. And if you do it in 31, it'll end up sounding a little bit derivative of the whole tone. Not necessarily in a bad way. You could do it in 31 with a little bit more effort, like the idea of just like jumping into another plane and have it sound like a completely microtonal intonation from what you were doing before. I just find that 26 does that really well, and it's easy because all the diatonic shapes are the same, and all that kind of thing. You don't have to like make this exception like in 22 where the major chord, the third changes, right? So that's the idea there. And then when I'm looking at colors, I usually use those to mark keys that are difficult to play. So like, for example, on the sheet music that I showed earlier in the stream, there are various parts where I'm like, this is like an orange, white, blue chord, and like I'll draw it. And then when I was improvising, what I did was I memorized the color of the scale that I was on and used that to find whatever diatonic thing I needed, or whatever other construct I needed, but in other octaves. Sometimes it's a little bit scary because it's not as fast with Lumitone since I'm not used to it yet. So it's quite easy to do it wrong. Like there was this part where I was playing like a G flat minor chord, and I wanted like the sixth, and I just kept playing a different notes. So I think there's definitely some work that it takes to imagine and play the same thing with the Lumitone. Like a little bit more work for me than for piano. Let's see. Fully shapes. Yeah, couldn't tell any of the chords. Knew their qualities, but not the roots. Yeah. I'd say, well, if I save this stream, then you can listen to it again and see if you gain any new ideas from re-listening, and you can use your perfect pitch to cheat and be like, oh, the root of this chord has like an F-ness to it. Let's see. What about using non-meantone EDOs? That's a great question. I don't use them as often. I mostly use my pink keyboard for that. But I do think the Lumitone is fun for them, and it is fun to play those scales. I just don't think you have the muscle memory. Now, it could be that the scale you've constructed is so easy to understand that you can play things fast. But I think scales that have like a lot of crossing patterns within a short amount of time that aren't meantone are probably the hardest, because they have the least amount of muscle memory, and they also have regularity that's complex. Um, so I generally just don't play those just because equal temperaments with higher numbered equal temperaments generally tend to have a diatonic scale, and that's what I think where the lumitone really shines is not only those high number EDOs, but then the fact that you can play the diatonic scales with them, like they kind of come together to make something great. You know what I mean? Um, but yeah, all right, sweet. Then I think we're done here. This is a good one. I think we're gonna save this one. So I'll see you all next time. It's been great chatting. Bye bye.